Down in Baltimore, we had 300 black people in one riot. Friday night, last night. Let's watch 3 different stories about this riot from 3 different news stations down there because it seems like there were 3 different things happening. Let's watch the first story. Watch how clearly uncomfortable this young black female reporter is about telling us what the fellas and lovely ladies are up to at this riot.
So right now we know that this kind of all started after there was an event here at East Point Mall, and about 300 juveniles, police say, exited that event. Things are starting to calm down. I'm going to step out of the way and give you a look at what we're seeing here as I kind of give you the breakdown of what police say happened. So police say that when the event ended, the juveniles went into the parking lot of the mall, and police were dispatched for reports of fighting, juveniles pulling door handles from cars, and they say destroying local businesses and nearby vehicles. Maryland State Police and other law enforcement agencies were dispatched here to East Point Mall. Police say that one woman was robbed. She had her cell phone taken in the parking lot, and police say they did make arrests in that phone robbery. Police also say multiple juveniles were arrested for destruction of property, second-degree assault, but they don't have an exact number of arrests that were made. So the MTA has done some rerouting in an effort to get all of these juveniles home. So again, police are saying that there was an event here at East Point Mall, and about 300 juveniles left that event and were in the parking lot when they got calls for some disturbances here. They do say that there was a reported robbery of a cell phone and that several arrests were made. But again, things are calming down here, and there's a much smaller police presence here right now.
We start tonight with breaking news out of Dundalk.
Had a basketball watch party, and then all of a sudden it turned into violence. There was chaos. There was pepper spray. Let's go live to the scene right now. WMAR 2 News' Abby Isaacs live at the East Point Mall. Abby.
There are still dozens of teens here across the street from East Point Mall, but this is nothing compared to the craziness that it was just 10 or 15 minutes ago. Baltimore County Police say they've made several arrests and used pepper spray to break up the crowds of teens. Kids I talked to said they were here at the mall for a March Madness party that moved outside to the parking lot. Fights started, and then police started getting calls for destruction of property. Officers responded and used pepper spray to break up the crowd. They estimated at least 300 kids out here. Several juveniles were arrested for second-degree assault, robbery, and destruction of property. Police closed down the streets surrounding the mall as they tried to get the kids to leave or go home.
And next thing I know, there's police coming through the parking lot every which way. Kids running up the alley, running up the street. And I asked someone to go home. They wouldn't go home. And I don't know where all these kids came from.
Baltimore County had to use additional resources for this, including officers from other precincts and Maryland State Police. There was also a helicopter flying overhead for at least a half an hour. Now, happening still, there are quite a few officers here and still a few teens. Police say they're working with MTA to get buses down here to get the kids out of the area.
A large amount of police response to East Point Mall to break up crowds of teens.
Police say at least 300 teenagers were inside the mall, then spilled out into the parking lot. Fights broke out and businesses were damaged. WJZ is live there right now. Max McGee reports there were also several arrests. Max?
Yeah, Mary, police have pretty much cleared out for the most part. I still see a few kids over at the Dunkin' Donuts, believe it or not. But just a couple of hours ago, there were literally hundreds of juveniles here at the East Point Mall. A large amount of police were here just trying to keep everything in order. Teens tell me there was a party inside the mall that brought over 300 kids. Around 9 p.m., they left the mall and walked into the parking lot. Police received calls for businesses being damaged and fights breaking out. Police say several juveniles were arrested. Maryland State Police were even called in to assist. There was one report of a robbery, a cell phone was stolen, and even pepper spray was used to control the crowd. Cameron Minter tells WJZ a man throws parties inside the mall to keep kids off the streets, but tonight was just chaos.
They came out in the parking lot. It was just a big old fight, and people was getting banked. It was all types of chaos. It was just like hard to really focus on one thing because there was so much going on. Police officers were swarming. It was just like I can't even describe it. It was just everywhere. It was people running and fighting and banking, and it was just a whole bunch of chaos.
There's no word on what exactly started the fight, but we do know no officers were hurt.
Oh, here's another story that talks about a large riot at the same place. Oh, sorry, my bad. This is from last year. 2,000 black people were rioting at this mall last year. It was a carnival. Whee!
Please, sir. I want some more.
Hey, can somebody tell me what banking is? The fella in that last video was going, they was banking. What the hell is that? I like the idea that he was kind of like grasping for word. I can't even describe the word I want to use for all the chaos and confusion. Well, I'll give you a word. It's called a riot. That's what happens when you got a large group of people fighting, defying police, destroying property, out of control. That's called a riot. 4 letters, R-I-O-T. If you look in the dictionary this time next year, it'll probably have the word, it'll probably say at the bottom of the definition, it'll say, C, banking. I don't know what banking is. I know what a riot is. That's what that is. I also know that in Baltimore, a riot is, I guess they're so common now, we don't even call them riots. This is a thing in Baltimore at the shopping centers, at the schools, at the other malls, at the colleges, downtown, the inner harbor. It's a thing nobody even seems to notice. I mean, what were the buses doing there? So if you riot in Baltimore, they call the cops and they put you on a bus. They don't take you to jail. They take you to your neighborhood. How do they even know where you live? Why don't they tell us that? Where do these people live? Where are they going now? So the whole riot thing is just, that's how they roll in Baltimore. So if you were a business owner, if you were a city official, and you knew that whenever groups of black people get together in Baltimore, there's a chance of a riot just like this happening. Oh, you remember the riot just a year or two where they had 120 cops had to go to the hospital? Remember that one? Okay, well, check out this story from the Baltimore Press just a couple days ago. They decided that the one thing Baltimore needs, one thing that the fellas and the lovely ladies in Baltimore need, is more retail development.
For decades, folks have been working to actually formally establish a cultural or arts-based district along Pennsylvania Avenue. And so for the last year, we've been working to actually realize that in historic West Baltimore. So our hope is working in coalition with the key stakeholders in West Baltimore to actually formally submit the designation to the state of Maryland and for the first time designate this area an arts and entertainment district, particularly for black folks, particularly for black folks, particularly for black folks.
So to the people that we saw and heard about in these videos about what happened at this mall, we know it happened all over Baltimore. Do they seem like your ideal buyer demographic?
Please, sir. I want some more.
Do they seem like they're going to come into your shops and into your district and behave well and buy lots of things and create lots of cool stuff and everybody's going to have a lot of fun? Does that seem like that's going to happen in this entertainment district? Oh, I'm sorry, this black arts and entertainment district? Has this ever happened anywhere before? Is there a black arts and entertainment district on this planet that is thriving, that's successful, that is safe? Is there one? Or are they like what Chris Rock says about black nightclubs? Grand opening, 3 weeks later, grand closing. Well, we're not allowed to quote Chris Rock around here when we're talking about the prospects of this thriving black arts and entertainment district. Because telling the truth about what happens there and what's going to happen there, that makes the black kids angry.